Before we get started, we'd like to thank Merchants Bonding Company for sponsoring this episode of Let's Get Surety. Merchants Bonding Company is the largest surety-focused company in the United States. If you want a common-sense surety approach, ease of doing business, and a first-class experience, see what Merchants Surety experts can do for you. To learn more, go to merchantsbonding.com. Now, on to our show.
You're listening to Let's Get Surety. Let me hear your bonding talk with Kat Shamapande.
Hey everyone, it's Kat Shamapande. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Let's Get Surety. I have with me today as co-host Mark McCallum, CEO of NASBP. Hey Mark, thanks for being on.
Hi Kat, glad to be back.
I am glad to have you back on, and I'm excited to talk today about the CCIFP Credential. So to talk about that with us today, we have Damien Strohmier, surety bond producer with DSP Insurance Services. Hey Damien, thanks for being on with us today.
How's it going, Kat? And hi, Mark.
Well, before we dive into talking about CCIFP, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and about DSP Insurance Services?
Yeah, absolutely. So DSP Insurance, it's a Chicago-based agency, 40 plus years in the making, still independently owned, and really rooted in construction. So our founding members had a lot of construction experience on the underwriting side, and that's carried through, and we still have 65% of our business with construction today. And then as for me, Purdue University grad, I've spent past 17 years in public accounting and just made the switch over to this producer role in contract surety back in June of 23.
Oh, that's exciting. So you're new to your role as a bond producer.
Yes, I am.
What made you take that leap from accounting to being a bond producer?
The thing I loved about my accounting role was when I get to the end of a project, be able to sit down with management and talk about it. So I'm finding in the producer role, I'm getting to have a lot more of those discussions versus a lot of the detailed work that maybe went into some of the other things I was doing.
Although I'm sure that detailed work helps you in your role as a producer as well.
Absolutely. It's invaluable.
That's terrific. So, Damien, with your background in accounting, it makes sense that you're here to talk to us about the CCIFP, I think. So what led you to get your CCIFP? I'm assuming you did that when you were in accounting?
Yeah, it really started with seeing my competition do it. So we hadn't focused or made that investment in our people to tell them, hey, go get this. It's something we'd like to round out your knowledge base for the CCIFP or for in construction in general. And so I was really the first person in the firm that jumped into getting the designation and came back. And, I was completely positive about it and told, hey, this really demonstrates that you have knowledge beyond just accounting and you're going to be able to talk to clients.
Yeah. You're talking about a little bit about what the CCIFP demonstrates. What exactly is the CCIFP?
Yeah. So the CCIFP is a designation specific to construction that, goes beyond financial. It's going to hit financial, HR, risk management, even safety and just legal aspects of what you encounter in the construction industry.
Damien, is there a sponsoring organization for the Credential?
Yes, the CFMA. Okay. So Construction Financial Management Association.
Yeah, perfect.
So, Damien, how long has the CCIFP been around?
I think CCIFP is going on its 20th year now. Is that right? So yeah, it's been around the industry for a long time, and it just shows that there's value to it, and people appreciate it.
So I wanted to circle back. You had mentioned that your competition was looking at it and maybe even achieving the credential. Tell us a little bit more about why you think that's so important to have that credential vis-a-vis others in the industry.
Mm-hmm. Specifically when I was in that public accounting role, not only did it show like that well-rounded, what I want to say, consultant,
right.
Aside from that, I think clients were really seeing the CCIFP as this dedication to their industry. Clients in the construction industry, they're they're all about whatever associations you are a part of. And I think
Yeah.
CFMA and CCIFP have been two of those prominent associations where if you're not, devoting some time and some, financial means to achieving those designations, participating in those associations, you're not really in construction.
Okay. Did you feel like it gave you a little bit more connection, a little bit more understanding of what the contractor does and what their chief financial officer is entrusted with?
Absolutely. I've got outside my 17-year public accounting background, I actually was in construction for about 6 years. So I'd like to think that I had a little bit stronger base going into this. And then when I was studying for the exam, it helped connect some points that I never really thought about, and really round out my knowledge. And you said it having those discussions with the CFO and knowing a little bit more about what
Yeah.
they're actually experiencing or what their challenges are. I mean, it creates for a better experience, and you got to have that on the production side.
Right, absolutely. So you've talked a little bit about what you were learning, but maybe get a little bit more specific. Like, what are the components of the credential? I'm sure you go through a study process and the test, and then also maybe touch on, are there continuing obligations once you have the credential?
Yeah. So there is a study guide. That study guide is pretty robust, and while I'd say the exam may be a little more financially centered, and I don't know the breakdown of the topics, there is just these heavy other components between HR and especially risk management that go into the just knowledge base that gives the certification the credit that it has.
Right.
I'd say the recertification process. So I've been through that once, and I submitted my fees a few minutes ago. But, the recertification process is actually more robust than I'd even say the CPA is. Yes, CPA, you have to have continuing professional education, but I'm not actually submitting it and outlining what's specific to tax or accounting, stuff like that. I'm supposed to do that all on my own. With the CCIFP's recertification, I have to have so many hours. I think it's at least 40 designated in construction,
Wow.
and then another 80. And I'm not sure about those numbers specifically, but in general, accounting or other, educational content.
So they're definitely going to make sure that you stay current on these different facets that are going to be important on the financial performance side, and probably even legal and other factors that are going on out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's been probably one of the biggest value adds to me too, because being able to talk about that and I'm taking CPE that is designated for construction. I'm participating in events that are purely construction. I think that really helps talking about why you keep up with accreditation.
Right. And you mentioned something about fees. So maybe tell us a little bit about the cost, maybe the cost to achieve it, and then the ongoing costs. And then how does your employer look at those costs?
Yeah, absolutely. So the recertification fee is $200 every year. My employer, so DSP is all about paying that, just as they're all about paying for my dues for other associations that I'm involved with. When I initially went through the program, I believe I ended up purchasing the study guide. Like, despite my experience, I wanted to make sure that I hit all facets and I got through it the first time. That's just my mentality.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting the study guide. There was fees associated with sitting for the test, and then your initial certification, I think. But I think that was all less than $1,000 all in.
Right.
So it's crazy to think about. It's pretty cheap for what it is.
Yeah, not too formidable in cost. And then, as you said, it probably gives you an edge in the marketplace. So employers are probably going to want to help out with that cost as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking about the edge in the marketplace, like, when's the last time you sat down with a client and you only talked about bonding or accounting? I mean, it's just never like that. So you've got an accreditation behind your name that says let's talk about your business. Because there's probably ways I can help connect you with somebody that's going to impact it this way or another. And if I don't have that background, I can't have those conversations.
Right. So what would you say to somebody? I mean, now that you're in the producer world, you came with the accounting CPA background. What happens if you're a producer and you don't have that background? Can they still pursue this as a gainful credential?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the study guide kind of pieces it all together there for you. I'd love to say the financial side was a lot easier for me when it came to the exam, because I think at that time I had 12 years of experience in public accounting. So I was jumping in and really rounding out my experience on the legal, the risk management, and the other facets of the exam. But it's definitely attainable for anybody else who's looking at this. That, I mean, honestly, I would want to know and have that background on the financial side, be able to provide some value to my clients.
When you talked about how you just completed your renewal and you've transitioned careers, was it important to that career change process to have your CCIFP in place for you?
I mean, for me, it absolutely was. I knew I was going to be in construction no matter where I went. And so when I got my CCIFP, I just viewed it as, hey, somebody's going to see this and they know that I want to be in this industry and I understand this industry. So it didn't matter where I was going to end up. It was going to be some letters on the back end of my name that said, hey, this guy's in it and he understands it.
So when you're taking the CCIFP, are there any surety specific skills that you found were tested for in the test or in the study materials?
I think a lot of public accounting and surety carry over together. So absolutely. When I'm thinking about the financial aspects, one of the biggest values I bring to my clients is being able to almost pre-underwrite and get them in the right spot and find the right carrier. A lot of people don't do that. They're sending out fishing lines, right? See who will bite. Well, I know what that fit's going to be. And my financial background is what set me there. So, and I would tell you that the CCIFP, it hits on those financial aspects that would help you underwrite a given client in a given situation and help you understand it a little bit better.
Right. Sounds like it gives you a lot of confidence that you're proficient in the areas and the fields that your clients really want you to be proficient in. What about internally? Does that make you kind of a resource within your own organization as well, demonstrating that you have the expertise to really speak the talk with your construction clients?
Absolutely. I've already had situations where I'm getting pulled in on other client meetings with other producers just to say, hey, we've got this guy and he's more than just a surety producer. He's a resource that we want to put in front of all of our clients. So, I mean, it's been about everything. It's been, simple, like the risk management stuff and understanding what that really means, to I've really helped out on some complex accounting matters and other things, just, putting out strategic plans on what can actually impact a financial statement moving forward for a company.
It kind of following that train of thought too. So obviously I think clients, it seems like a no-brainer. They really want to know that you have that expertise. You're becoming a resource within your own organization. How do surety companies look at you as an agent then with this credential as well?
Yeah. So I think the best way to answer that is I just placed a piece of business that was really difficult. It was a company that did not have robust internal financials and no external CPA statement. I think I got that done because the carrier knew my background and knew what I helped the client with on creating a pro forma, and they were able to take that and offer a surety program to them. And now moving forward, they're going to have CPA statement, stuff like that. But I mean, I don't think that gets done without the proper designations behind your name.
Right. And the carrier may have more confidence in your recommendations and your positioning of the client, right? Because of that background.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in finding clients out there that don't have those outside CPAs and things like that in place that help them to have their financials in order and be ready to get their first bond.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a big step that you're able to help them with.
So, Damien, what would you recommend to a producer thinking about this? What would your sales pitch be? I think we've uncovered a lot of good reasons, but kind of what is your sales pitch?
Yeah, I mean, for any other producer considering this, I just think about how it changes your value proposition. I mean, for me, that was weird. Like coming into a sales role, I had to figure out what value proposition even meant. And even then, I had to figure out, okay, how do I display that? Talk about a CCIFP and CPA. But, as soon as you have this designation, I think it completely changes what you're able to do with a client. And that initial conversation maybe gets more bites.
Right.
And if there's other CPAs listening in who are considering a career change like yours, what would you say to them?
I'm going on spring break this year. That's right. No, it's a different life for sure. It's wonderful. I feel like I'm getting to provide value beyond just accounting and into a whole different facet of clients. I'm just being able to touch more people because I'm not being rooted into, the day-to-day of the CPA life.
Right. It sounded like you really enjoyed the relationships that you built as a CPA, and you get to enhance that now as a producer and touch on it in a lot of different ways.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's been the best part.
That's terrific. So, Damien, if someone wants to get more information and wants to pursue their CCIFP like you did, where could they go to find out that kind of information?
Yeah, the best place to go is cfma.org/CCIFP. It'll tell you more about becoming a CCIFP, the components of the test, honestly give you more guidance on how much time you got to put into studying and what materials you should really buy and use.
That's terrific. Well, Damien, it's been great having you on and talking and learning a little bit about the CCIFP credential and about your career and transition over to the Surety side. Well, thanks again for being on. Hopefully we'll have you back again with us sometime as your career advances.
You've been listening to Let's Get Surety, brought to you by the National Association of Surety Bond Producers. For more information about the NASBP and its members, visit nasbp.org.
Before we go, we just wanted to thank Merchants Bonding Company again for their generous support in sponsoring this episode of Let's Get Surety. Merchants Bonding Company is the largest surety-focused company in the United States. If you want a common-sense surety approach, ease of doing business, and a first-class experience, see what Merchants Surety experts can do for you. To learn more, go to merchantsbonding.com.